Today's sponsor is Advancement Courses. Stay tuned at the end of the show for a special coupon for 20% off any of their grad level professional development courses. Yes, we're at episode 300. I can hardly believe it. And thank you to all of you listeners out there who have made the 10-minute teacher part of your daily weekday habit. Thank you so very much. And if you have a moment, I'd really appreciate if you'd leave a review on iTunes or the podcatcher of your choice. It's so very helpful and helps other people find the show. And it would just really be awesome. So today, for episode 300, we are talking about 5 ways to celebrate Poetry Month with my friend, Eric Curts. The 10-Minute Teacher Podcast with Vicki Davis. Every weekday, you'll learn powerful, practical ways to be a more remarkable teacher today. So today we're talking with my Mr. Google friend, Eric Curts, who knows everything about Google, but also we're talking about poetry because April is Poetry Month. Today we're going to do 5 ways to celebrate Poetry Month. So Eric, what is our first way?
First thing I'm going to mention is everything I'm going to share here can be found in a blog post I did recently at controlaltachieve.com/poetry. So you guys can find everything right there. The very first one is drag and drop magnetic poetry with Google Drawings. I think most of us are familiar with those magnetic poetry kits you can get. Well, this is a digital version of that. Basically, what I've done is used Google Drawings to put little text boxes on either side of the Google Drawings canvas. On the left-hand side, about 100 Dolch words, just your normal words there. And then on the right-hand side, I'll put themed words. I've got one for wintertime, one for springtime. I've got one for Valentine's Day. I got several of those in the blog post, and people can make copies of those, and the students can simply drag and drop those tiles over from the sides onto the canvas to make their poetry. And I've even had some folks make copies of these and then modify it with their own themed words, which is fantastic. I always encourage people to take this stuff and make changes to it.
So what ages do you think these are perfect for?
Well, you could definitely use these with your elementary students without a doubt. Now, I don't think there's any upper limit to it, but the idea being that since the words I chose are the Dolch words, the first in about 100 or so of the words are those are definitely words that students are learning in K1, 2. And so you could definitely use this with your lowest elementary students. That way they can simply drag the words over and not have to worry about how to spell things. But if they want to go further, they sure can. They can double click on any word and change it. There's a few blank tiles. They can add their own words in as well. So it definitely scales up for upper elementary and middle school kids as well.
Oh, fun. Okay. What's next?
The next one is random writing prompt generators with Google Sheets. Sometimes that's the hard thing, is just getting started. What should I write a poem about? So what I did is I used the random function inside of Google Sheets to create 2 different generators, writing prompt generators. The first one is a text prompt generator. I took 2,000 adjectives and 1,000 nouns and put them in the Google Sheet. And every time you pull it up, it randomly puts the adjectives with the nouns and gives you 20 suggested writing prompts at a time. You can always refresh it and get 20 more. If that doesn't work for you, I did another one that is an emoji writing prompt generator. And so again, I took, hundreds and hundreds of emojis, and then it randomly puts them together into either 2, 3, 4, or 5 emojis at a time, depending upon what you want. And again, this can give that spark of creativity to the student to say, I'm going to write a poem about something, and they can refresh this until they get 3 emojis that just hit them just right, and then they'll use that for the foundation of their poem they're going to write.
Because as we know, sometimes if we just say, write something creative, okay, they really need help.
That's right.
Spurring it forward. Okay, what's our third?
The next one is Blackout Poetry with Google Docs. Now, a lot of people are familiar with Blackout Poetry in the analog version, where you take a page out of a magazine and a big black Sharpie marker and you cross out everything you don't want and you leave behind just the words you want to make your poem. Well, this is just a digital version of that using Google Docs. Basically, it's just a couple of quick tricks. You basically start by putting your text into the document that you're going to share out with the students, or they can put their own text in there. And then you do 3 main things. First of all, you turn the background of the Google document gray temporarily. Then second, you use the highlighting tool to highlight the words you want in white, so they kind of pop out. And then after you've highlighted the words you want to keep, you then change the background color a second time, but this time you change it to black, and everything else disappears except for the words you highlighted white. And now you have Blackout Poetry done digitally.
Oh, what fun. Okay, what's our fourth?
The fourth thing are poetry templates. Again, sometimes it's helpful to give a little structure. Now, this could be for, students who are struggling with writing a poem and they need something to guide them through, or it can also be on the other end. If you've got a student who's very successful with their writing, but needs to be challenged to be creative and fit it within a certain structure. So I've got a couple of these templates. One is the standard haiku template, which is going to be your 5 syllables, 7 syllables, 5 syllables. This is a Google drawing template where there's boxes for each of the syllables for them to put in. But as a fun little twist, I also have an image in the background that the students can change to match whatever their poem is about. And then the second template I have is what I call a pi poem template. Now, this one's in Google Sheets, and it's pi as in pi, the mathematical, number pi. And the way it works is you're trying to write a poem where each word corresponds in length to each of the digits in pi. So the first word of your poem is 3 letters long. Then the next word is 1 letter long. Then the next word is 4 letters long. And this is a template created in Google Sheets that will guide the students through that as they try to write a pi poem.
Oh, fun. And you're pulling math together, aren't you?
Absolutely.
Okay, what's our last one?
And so the final one is an add-on that you can use in Google Docs called Rhymefinder. So with all of the activities we've been looking at here so far, what if a student gets into them and still is stuck, is still struggling to come up with, well, what's a good rhyme for this word? Well, there's an add-on for Google Docs called Rhymefinder that all you have to do is open up the add-on, highlight any word in your document, and then Rhymefinder will find for you all of the rhyming words and list how many syllables they have and so forth, just to give you, again, some inspiration if you're getting stuck when you're trying to create that poem.
I've been writing poetry since I was very young. And yes, we're using all these tools, but do we still want to share poetry and help capture just the beauty that poetry is?
Absolutely. And when you talk about, sharing, don't forget that with everything we've been talking about here with creating these, the final products can be shared. If it's Google Drawings, they can download it as an image, and that image can be put up on your, class blog or emailed out. Or if it's using the Google Docs Blackout Poetry, that final document can be shared to the regular share button, or again, it can be published to the web. And that's the thing. Once these are being created, and they're being done in a digital format, I would absolutely encourage people to share what the students have created and let it go beyond the classroom to a broader, more authentic audience.
Yes, poetry can be so much about the power of the perfect word. I mean, it's such an activity that helps kids understand just the meaning.
Absolutely. Those who appreciate poetry, when you do take a look at the blog post, I actually wrote a poem for the blog post. And so I'll leave that up to people to go check that out. Again, it's at controlaltachieve.com/poetry, where you'll find all 5 of these activities and tools linked in with descriptions on how to use each one of them and links to get copies of all the templates I mentioned. And for the introduction for it, I figured, hey, I can't write a blog post about poetry if I don't write a poem. And so I know just what you mean. I struggled and labored over that poem to get it just right, but it introduces the blog post and kicks that off in a fun way.
So, Remarkable Educators, Eric Curts is such a valuable resource. I know he is for me in my classroom, and I know that you'll get in there and enjoy and celebrate Poetry Month and publish it when you're done. Thanks, Eric.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Need some great professional development? Today's sponsor, Advancement Courses, has more than 200 graduate-level online professional development courses for K-12 teachers. You can take these courses for continuing education, salary advancement, or recertification. And these courses have us teachers developing tangible resources to use in our classrooms immediately. Go now to advancementcourses.com/coolcat and use the code COOL20 at checkout to get 20% off any course. With this coupon, a 3 grad credit course is only $359. So go to advancementcourses.com/coolcat to learn more and use the coupon code COOL20. Never stop learning. Thank you for listening to the 10-Minute Teacher Podcast. You can download the show notes and see the archive at coolcatteacher.com/podcast. Never stop learning.